students, and welcome to our lesson number 10. But before our lesson will proceed, allow me to introduce you with this activity that we are usually doing before that every lesson is proceeding. Here is the question that you have to be reminded of. What is the name of your archbishop or bishop? Or can you name at least one of his sacred vestments used during Mass? Or explain how it is related to his role of authority and governing the church? This output activity, you may put it in your notebook and even in your comment section in our YouTube discussion. In connection to this, our lesson for this time is related to the church as the hierarchical constitution. Maybe it's the first time for you to hear this word hierarchical. Allow me to explain them, but we have the objectives to follow in order for us to have this lesson. The first objective that they have is to understand the nature and purpose of the authority of the church. The second one, you will be able to bear witness to the spirit of unity by obeying church authorities. And the third one, you have to pray for the church leaders always. Without further ado, let's start with this preliminary discussion on this question. Why do you think that authority is needed in a particular society? Do you have an idea why authority is really needed in a society? There was one time in my schedule of celebrating Mass in Basic Ecclesial Community, or shall we say JKK, one sacristan who is accompanying me in going to the JKK was asking me out of his curiosity. Ang sacristan ng utana sa kuha, ingon siya, Father, during sa imong time sa seminaryo, it's the place where I grow and the place where I trained before becoming a priest. So the sacristan was curious and asking me, Father, dito ba sa inyo ang seminaryo na abay ginatawag na labaw-labaw o nabay labaw sa inyo ha? I responded him by giving examples in daily experiences that we have. I told him, bisag asa ta sa atuang kinabuhi na adyoy labaw, no? Labaw-labaw. Bisan gani diha sa pagdula og basketball, so pinang basic nga mga example, no? I was saying to him that even in playing basketball, there should be a one playmaker, there should be a captain ball, and there should be one that is the mind of the game. You should be thinking and governing the whole team in order to win the game. And another example I have given him is the school, how the school should continue if it is the absence of having that authority, central authority. And another example that I am giving to him is when you are in your respective houses. Can you still remember every day of your experience in your different houses? You have this sense of authority sometimes, especially kung ikaw ang ginamugulangan, or if your parents, it could be your mother or your father, having that sense of responsibility. Dili pwede diha sa panimalay in your respective houses when no one is having that sense or full authority over the house members. So importante kayo ang authority or ginatawag nato usahay nga labaw-labaw diha sa atong society. But of course, you have to understand it well. This word maglabaw-labaw, no? Sometimes it is abused. If it is not abused, then it could give a good benefit for all the people in your society. So to proceed with, we have a very fundamental question to understand what comprises the authority of the church. There are 2 points that I have to discuss to you about understanding the authority of the church, because by understanding the authority of the church, you will be able also to understand the word hierarchical structure of the church. The first point that you have to consider is the word leadership. What do you understand, or how you learn the word leadership, how you define the word leadership? Do you have that sense of leadership? Sometimes it happens when you are in in the middle of the group, when you are in grouping, especially those time that you have still the face-to-face classes, especially when you are in a seminar or in a lecture or in a workshop, when you are merged into group, wala ka kaila sa imong grupo. There are really many awkward moments. You are in the group and everyone is just strangers to you. You don't know them and they don't know you. And you just don't know what or how to proceed with a particular situation, and there is sometimes a total silence in the group. But I tell you, the group cannot really perform the task given by their facilitators kung walay there is no person will have that sense of authority. So my point is that you have to say something. I always have that sense of feeling to really start a conversation with when you are in that particular situation. So leadership is a responsibility and accountability. It is the person who is to do first something, and he is aiming to be followed for the benefit not only for himself but even for the whole group. That sense of responsibility is what we call leadership. Leadership is very far from the word being a boss. Leadership you have to do first, then the others will follow. There are many authors, as we have known in the modern times, have written book authors about leadership. If you remember, if you can know, John Maxwell is one of the well-known authors, and many others have written about leadership. And it is the capacity, the potential of the person to do first the things, then he will be followed. It is also present in our church. Church leaders are tend to do first, then they will be followed. The second point that we have is about the points or order. In our daily activities, we can find this word in the reality, the order. How are the things being put with their specific functions and a clear flow of organizations. Even in our streets, every day you can see there is the order. Nauni mo sa tuwang city of Tagum, there is that order. Kung walay order, then there will be a chaotic surroundings. For example, I would like to give you the example of traffic light. Without traffic lights, then the drivers and those who are moving by the streets would be moving according to their will, according to their subjective intentions, when to stop, when to go. And the result of that is many accidents that can happen to every drivers. That's why traffic lights are provided by the governments to promote this order of a particular environments. Importante kayo ang order class. Kung tanawin mo, I'm just giving example of the city of Tagum, no? How the things should be in the proper place and time. But even at the church, it is also a reality that there should be an order. Now, I tell you that order is not only about the people, but it is also about the place. It's also about the things that are in their proper positions and proper functions. So these are the two points that you have to consider that comprised the authority of the church. There is that leadership and there is also that order. With these 2 points, we can have that hierarchical structure of the church. Now, to understand in a deeper way the word hierarchical structure of the church, there are some points you have to remember, especially the 6 terms. They are in proper order class from the higher to lower possessions of hierarchical structure of the church. We all know that Jesus Christ is the head of the church. He is the founder and head of the church. Therefore, he is at the first level of the hierarchical structure of the church. According to the church governance, the bishop is following, or the bishop of Rome, or the pope. We have, in this case, we have Pope Francis. He is also the bishop of Rome, or bishop, as the vicar of Christ. He has the second place in the hierarchical structure of the church. Sometimes he is called the Prince of the Apostles, especially in the name of Saint Peter. Sometimes, class, the Pope is considered or known as Roman Pontiff. For your information, the Pope is elected during the time when they are gathered, the cardinals are gathered to elect, and this gathering is called conclave. Conclave. This is what happened in that particular activity. They are electing the Pope. Now, after the Bishop of Rome or the Pope, there is the cardinals. So there are the cardinals of the Holy Catholic Church, or they are known as collaborators of the Pope. Helper, shall we say, the helper of the Pope, and they have different functions. We have Bishop or Cardinal Tagle, Antonio Tagle, and we have also Advincula, and we have Quevedo. They have their specific functions in the Vatican. In fact, Bishop or Cardinal Tagle is assigned in the Congregation of Evangelization of Peoples, or he is also the head of the Caritas International. You see, they have their specific functions in the Vatican especially. Under the cardinals, we have the bishop, or known as the episcopacy. Now, the bishop class could be the archbishop. He is the head of all bishops in a particular diocese. For example, in Davao region, we have many dioceses. It is governed by an archbishop. It means he is the head of all the bishops. In this case, we have Romulo Valles, the archbishop of Davao. And there is also what we call the auxiliary bishop, or the helper bishop. And we have our own bishop. We call him Medel Aseo in Tagum. And sometimes the bishop can retire before he can die, or even still alive. It could be it could happen that he is no longer having that function of the bishop of particular diocese. And you can call him emeritus bishop. In this case, in Tagum, we have one bishop that is still alive, but he is already resigning from his office. We have Wilfredo Manlapas, no? Wala na siya sa iyang function. The primary role of bishop class is to teach our prophetic office, and he is also to serve and to govern his kingly office and to sanctify the people. Priestly office during prayer is there in the midst of the people. After the bishop class, we have also the priests. I am also one of them. Our main functions as a priest, we are ordained for teaching. As you know, I am in front of you right now teaching, but teaching could be in many ways, not only in classroom setting. It could be in a formal or informal way setting, teaching the people who needs lessons, knowledge, and even ministering. We are called to minister through the sacraments that we have in the church. Pwede may makamisa, pwede makakumpisal, viaticum, pwede anointing of the sick, and even governing. We have an example here in Latran. We have a priest who is governing the school, like Father Larry J. Lantano, as you have known him. He is governing the church or administering the church. Although the priests, there are some limitation in terms of governance. They cannot govern. It is not possible that the priests should govern in political possessions in the government. Dili pwede nga ang isa ka pare mahimo siya nga mayor, mahimo siya nga barangay captain. That's not possible. Or else he has to stop his priestly ministry. Pwede siya mundang sa iyang pagkapare, then he can run for public office like governor, mayor, and other positions in the society or the government. After the priest's class, we have also the deacon, or the servant in preparation for his priesthood. He has to serve the bishop or even the priest. Some are deciding to be continually or permanently called deacon in their life. Ang uban, dili na sila mo proceed pagkapare. They are deacon forever. And we have also, aside from deacon, we have also the religious congregations, the sisters. Kanang makita ninyo nga nakabelo, no? Kung madto mo sa SMC, here in Tagum, we have sisters. So, ang tawag sa ilaha kay sisters. But actually, they are called religious, belonging to congregations. And they have their own founders. And aside from sisters, we have also brothers in religious congregations. Ang mga brothers, dili na sila mahimong pari. Some of them are monk. Yan na sila yung mga certain vows, which we will be discussing the next of this lesson. We will be discussing the vows na ilang gina-promise throughout their life. And the last one are the lay faithful. Kung mangutana mo class, Father, where are we belong as a students? Then I will respond to you, you belong to the lay faithful. It doesn't mean that you are the last part of the hierarchical structure of the church, then you are the least. Wala na siya kapasabot. Lay faithful comprised the majority of the people of God, and some can have special assignments. Don't you know that lay persons can have special assignments in the church? Like lay minister, you can be the catechists, or you just simply a church goer, or a choir leader, choir member, or you can even doctor, teacher in the church or one of the parish staff members. So there are many functions that a lay person can do in the church. So these are all the individuals that comprised the hierarchical structure of the church. Specific ang ilang mga functions, class, dapat in order and with the leadership of those who are in authority. And with that, we can understand the hierarchical structure of the church. I hope you have learned something about our topic about hierarchical structure of the church. And before ending this discussion, allow me to give you this thought from Rick Warren, one of the authors of the book. He said that he created the church, Jesus Christ created the church to meet your 5 deepest needs. For example, a purpose to live for, a people to live with, principles to live by, and the profession to live out, and the power to live on. There is no other place on earth where you can find all 5 of these benefits in one place, and it is in the church. I hope you learned something in our discussion, our lesson, and for your participation, you have to comment in our channel. Goodbye and